Welcome into the Nike Hot Seat. I'm Emily Eamon, joined by Sydney Hilley, Athletes Unlimited setter and former Wisconsin All-American and national champion. Sydney, I want to go back to the early days. I know both your parents were athletes in college. Your mom played volleyball, dad played basketball. So how early on were sports introduced to your life?
Oh, super early on. That was like always what the kids were doing. I have an older brother and a younger sister. So we were just always outside, whether it was shooting baskets or playing soccer, dance. We tried everything. But my dad was always our basketball coach and my mom was the volleyball coach. So we got to grow up with both of those sports all the way up until high school. And actually, all three of us chose volleyball. And I'm not going to say it's because my mom was a nicer coach, but maybe it had a little bit to do with it.
When do you remember falling in love with the sport?
I remember I made my first club team when I was 7, and I got a new pair of shoes because I made the team. And I was just so happy about that I loved volleyball after that forever.
What influence did your mom have on you in terms of volleyball, especially as one of your coaches?
Yeah, definitely. She made me the person and player I am today in every aspect, not just in volleyball, but just as an overall person. But she got me involved pretty early. And I'm so thankful for that. She actually like showed me the ropes of the club volleyball, and we kind of learned together like how club works, how recruiting works, all that, because it's so different from when she played, but she's just always been such a great support system for me.
Well, you went on to play Wisconsin, a five-time All-American, helped the Badgers to their first ever national championship. How do you think you developed most during those 5 years in Madison?
I definitely think I just became someone who was a lot more go with the flow and a lot more calm in hectic situations. Coming into college, I was pretty like high strung, anxious about a lot of things. Like everything had to be a certain way in order for me to play well. Like I was one of those really superstitious people. But it got to a point where me and my coach talked about embodying just, good vibes, go with the flow. No matter what happens, you're fine. So that kind of thing, I think I handled adversity a lot better towards the end of my career than I did at the beginning.
Yeah, it seems like, a lot of athletes going into college, they might not know how to handle those big situations. And especially playing at a place like Wisconsin. I mean, you have, thousands of fans in the stands at the same time. Were there any techniques that you used to maybe center yourself or embody those values that you were talking about?
Yeah, we actually were super lucky to have a mindfulness coach who worked with our team. So we worked on strategies to stay in the moment, whether that was taking a centering breath, whether that was in between points, you wipe your thighs or you fix your ponytail, whatever you needed to do to move on from the previous point and go to the next one, whatever worked for you in that way. We also did a lot of visualization and just a lot of breathing techniques. And I'm super thankful for that because we definitely were in a lot of high pressure situations, but it's just a way to bring you back into the moment, kind of tune out everything that's happening around you and kind of have that tunnel vision.
What was one technique that you still use to this day?
Oh, definitely the centering breath. And that's like on and off the court, whether I'm feeling really stressed or frustrated, I need to slow down. It's just and then you blow out everything bad and then you're on with your day after that.
You went on to play professionally in Turkey, Puerto Rico, and now in the US with Athletes Unlimited. What was the biggest transition for you from playing college to going pro?
Honestly, I think the biggest thing was just adjusting to a new culture when I went overseas, especially in Turkey. You're just kind of thrown into a new environment, and not everyone speaks English, like communicating with your teammates. Even the names of the sets were in Turkish, so I kind of had to learn a little bit of that. That's the only Turkish I learned. I did not learn more than that. But just being able to relate to your teammates in the same way that you do in college is it's really difficult because there's such a wide range of ages and personalities and cultures and backgrounds, but it is really cool to be exposed to these different cultures. So that was fun in Turkey. Puerto Rico was awesome. I actually don't speak Spanish at all, so my coach only spoke Spanish, so I had a translator the whole time. Versus in playing in the US, it kind of honestly feels more like college, except for the game is a little bit faster and you have a lot more physical attackers all the way around.
For your time playing in Turkey and Puerto Rico, what was the biggest thing you learned from that adjustment?
I think it was just carrying over my go with the flow mentality. A lot of times, in college, I think it's the ultimate team sport. Everyone is trying to accomplish a common goal. You're with each other all the time, on and off the court. And then you get to pro, and it's a lot more every man for themselves. So it's a different mentality. People are more worried about stats or how they played in the game versus how the team does. And that was really hard for me just because I loved volleyball because of its team mentality. So that's why I kind of like Athletes Unlimited, because everybody's trying to win so that you get those team points so you finish higher on the board. So I really like that idea.
And you played in AU spring tour this past spring, and one of the stops was at your alma mater. How special was it to be welcomed back to the field house?
Yeah, it was unreal. I mean, I never thought I would have a chance to play there again, but just even pulling up to the field house, walking in, the security guards were giving me like fist bumps, like, hey, Sid, like, welcome back. Like, we missed you. And all the girls around me were just like, this is so cool that they still know you. They still love you. And as soon as I walked out onto the floor, the crowd started cheering. It just like gave me chills. I'm just so lucky to have played there. And I was super excited I got to show off that environment to all the Athletes Unlimited girls, because a lot of them had never played in that environment before.
Yeah, I mean, it was so special watching and, being at that game in Madison. I think one of my favorite parts of the spring tour as a whole was, welcoming back a lot of the alumni to the alma maters. Everyone got a standing ovation, and it was so exciting to watch. And I'm wondering, just as a whole for that spring tour, what was your biggest takeaway?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, it felt like I was back in college. I was like, this is sweet. I get a 6 year of college and I get to go see schools that I've never played at that I would have loved to, like Louisville, Texas, Kentucky. I never played at those schools and I got to experience what it was like there. But overall, what I got out of it is that I want to keep playing. Like, I was up and down about whether I wanted to continue playing. But just like getting back in the gym and being with some awesome girls and playing some awesome volleyball, it reminded me just how much I love it and how much I want to keep playing.
Aside from playing in Madison, obviously, which stop was your favorite?
That's hard. I really think that actually Ohio State might have been my most favorite, just because we really bonded with that team. Like, we had like dinner with them, we mixed up on the court. They were just super welcoming, and it was really cool to like see all their facilities. Their weight room is incredible, their new gym's awesome. So I think that was probably one of my favorite stops.
Yeah, I mean, Cavelli is one of definitely the coolest places to play, and they're really building it up with Jen there. Switching gears, Sid, I know you also run camps in your free time. I'm wondering, what is the biggest thing that athletes that take your camps, what is the biggest takeaway that you want them to have?
I think the biggest thing is it's not the quantity of reps that you get, it's the quality. I think so many girls go in and it's like, oh, I touched the ball today, I did a little bit of wall work, I got better. And that's not necessarily the case. It's, if you're going in and getting reps, you're focused on what you're doing, you're accomplishing a certain goal, whether that's I'm going to go in and do wall work and I'm going to focus on my finish when I'm setting. You're really dialed in on one thing versus just, going through the motions, because that's not getting you better. You're either getting better or you're getting worse every time you go into the gym. And I really stress that during my camps and lessons and everything.
Well, aside from running camps, being a professional athlete, you also have a full-time job working with Beckman Coulter, a medical diagnostic company. What does your day-to-day look like as a working professional and a professional athlete?
Yeah, it's crazy just because I've never actually worked a full 8-hour job before in my entire life. So getting thrown into that, I was like, wow, this takes up a lot of your time. But it's great that my team of like 15 people, they are just awesome. They've been helping me through everything. They actually came to watch Athletes Unlimited play at the U of M. So that was really sweet of them to be supporting me on the court as well. But a day in the life, it's really a lot of technical documentation behind some of the immunoassay products that our company provides.
In terms of balancing all of that, I mean, during your time with Wisconsin, you got your degree in genetics and then your master's in applied biotechnology. I imagine that helped prepare you a little bit for the balance of everything that you're doing now.
Yeah, definitely kind of feels like I'm back in college again, managing school, practice, social life. But now it's, instead of school, I have a job, I have a professional athlete, and then it's the social life on top of that. So really what I did through college was making sure that I'm where my feet are all the time. So that means like when I'm at practice, I'm thinking about volleyball, I'm thinking about what I'm doing in this drill. I'm not thinking about the test I have to take tomorrow or what I'm going to wear to the football game, that kind of stuff. So wherever you are, make sure that your focus is on that rather than being in a bunch of places at one time.
Or, the degree you got and now the job that you're in, what made you passionate about this field?
Yeah, so actually my grandma passed away from breast cancer when I was pretty young, and ever since then I've really just had this desire to help people, and I've always had a love for science. So when I was going through college, I knew that I wanted to get a degree in something that would allow me to combine the science and helping people, and hopefully one day I can impact people with diseases like breast cancer in a beneficial way. So that's what I'm really striving towards.
In terms of workouts and getting in the gym and all of that, what does that look like for you right now? Is there a, club team or, Minnesota, are you practicing with them? What does that look like?
Yeah, so I actually coach a club team at the club I played at, Minnesota Select, and I'm the assistant coach, but I get to scrimmage with them all the time and get reps with them. I also have the key to the club gym, so I can just go in and set whenever I want. I also do Orange Theory, and then I have a workout facility at my apartment. So there's lots of good opportunities to get reps and workouts in.
Girl, I do Orange Theory too, and it kicks my butt.
Yeah, it really does.
Oh
I
my
don't think
gosh.
people understand.
I remember I used to go in college sometimes as like supplemental workouts, and I was like, these are harder than my actual work. Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, they're good, and I like how competitive they are. It really drives me to keep going. Because when I left college and didn't have a team to work out with, I think that was my hardest adjustment, is like going to the gym by myself, making my own workouts. That's why I love going to classes, because it kind of reminds me of working out when I was in college.
As a coach for a club team now, what different perspective has that given you on the sport?
Yeah, I think I always had this phrase where like you go back and you look on your life and you realize your mom was always right. And now it's like I go back and I look and I'm like, okay, Kelly Sheffield was always right when he was my college coach. So I think that you have a greater appreciation for just like the knowledge of the game and how much really goes into coaching. It's not just the technical part, it's the leadership, the emotional, all of that goes into it. So I gotta say, Kelly Sheffield, shout out to you. Your job's harder than you make it seem.
I know Kelly's going to be happy about that one for sure. You're going to get a few texts about that. Sid, thank you so much for joining me. It was so great to dive a little bit deeper into your upbringing, everything you're doing now. I know, Kelly and everyone there is so proud of you, and, everyone's rooting for you. So thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.